Good evening, everybody, or I guess good morning if you're one of our European viewers. This is the sixth qualifying match in the Link to the Past Randomizer Cross Keys Tournament qualifier setup, I guess. I didn't really think of a way to end that sentence cleanly. I am Huffin, and I'm joined on the commentary by MentosMan8. MentosMan, how's it going?
It's going pretty well, other than the thunderstorm that's apparently just rolling in. I hope doesn't come across on the mic. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I feel sorry for you that you're playing a standard seed right now. I guess have to deal with that storm, but it'll clear out pretty quickly. Our runners will be doing an open seed, as this is our usual cross keys. So no storm in the game.
Yep, at least not until, you walk through a random cave and you end up in Misery Mire and you're like, hey, well, what's going on down here?
Yep, that certainly can happen. That is the name of the game with Entrance Randomizer. Anything can go anywhere. And we can have anything anywhere, like gloves over in Link's house. Which, that one will always be in its same spot, but as we're about to see the Sanctuary, not so much.
That's a kind of convenient spot for the Sanctuary. You get that nice, easy tree pull, you get you get a couple entrances right nearby to check. It works out pretty well.
Yep, and it is conveniently a Light World location. The big part of Cross Keys, Crossworld entrance, being that not only can an entrance for something in the Dark World be in the Light World or vice versa, but caves that go have one entrance and one exit, that can go Light World into Dark World.
And that was just very sad. We saw that the Old Man Cave was the front entrance of Hyrule Castle, so 2 of 3 save and quit spots are the castle, the third is Link's house. That's not great.
Yeah, that is going to be extremely inconvenient for our runners. You're going to want a flute on this pretty soon, just for the mobility. And you are going to want that ice rod if we have to do Turtle Rock.
Other than that, worth noting, a very common thing people do early in Cross Keys is to go check all of these spots with drop-downs, because things like the Uncle Hole, other things, Sanctuary, the Kakariko Well, anything with a normal entrance and a hole that you drop down into is shuffled amongst themselves. So there aren't very many of them, and most of them have some value, so checking them early is pretty common.
Yep, as Allison just showed us, the Eastern Palace Big Key being held by the uncle, who's hanging out at the Fairy Drop. And looks like Allison is going to do a quick hula hand. This still works the same as always. Just mess up your camera a little bit, drop down a hole, and there's 200 plus rupees just waiting for you.
Meanwhile, Check's going into the dam down here to find Thieves Town, just hanging out right down here.
Yep, and if it's as if you're playing inverted, you just run straight to Thieves Town and get these 4 checks in. And be very careful, because you're on 3 hearts, and these can be dangerous enemies.
I mean, you can survive 1 hit. And Ella now going into the Sanctuary, gonna find out, oh wait, I could have got here a lot different way. And then probably about to go walk in this door and be very disappointed to see the 3rd save and quit spot hanging out right here.
Well, there's our first T-Rock small key over in Thieves Town. And some flippers.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of value out of Thieves Town. And it is worth noting as well that the Old Man Cave and Hyrule Castle is a connector cave. So if you go through the backside of that cave and come out, the back door, you're gonna find somewhere. No idea where. You might be in the Light World, you might be in the Dark World. But at some point we're probably gonna see these two go through the rarely seen back of the old man cave to see what's going on the other side.
Yeah, that is one of the special little bits of Entrance Randomizer, not only testing how many spots you know and how well you know them, but, what caves actually are the parts that you don't usually go to, even though you're there all the time.
And we just found the back of Hookshot Cave at Mini Moldorm Cave. Now, Chex decided not to go through it, he wanted to keep going over here to Ice Rod Cave. It's a dangerous balance of how often do you follow the connectors and how often do you walk away to keep doing what you were doing.
Yeah, especially with the level of equipment we have now. Our runners have gloves, so if a connector pops out, say, under this rock, it's not a one-way, but it can be annoying. Speaking of can be annoying.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an annoying spot for them. And we get Desert Palace main entrance in Ice Rod Cave.
And we found Swamp Palace over near the race game. It's one of those mini games. I don't actually remember what it ever is.
I want to say that one's just a pick one of 3 chests thing.
Probably. Oh, and the library is instead the Pyramid Fairy.
Unfortunately, no bottles to toss into the water there to get filled up, so just gonna grab those 2 mostly not super useful items and move along.
And there's our other waterfall.
That was very close together. I guess the fairies decided they wanted to, live a little bit closer, be able to hang out a little bit more often.
And, be at the tavern. Which, honestly, the waterfall, decent name for a tavern.
It is pretty solid, I'll give you that.
So Lower Bumper Cave leads to a fairy fountain. There's Ganon's Tower. It's just hanging out in Kakariko.
Not much you can do here just yet, but you can get these 2 items on the right, which are a small key to Misery Mire and $20, and you can check what's going on with the torch over on the left side.
And meanwhile, Chex Human found one of our first Crossworld caves and is now heading up the Dark Death Mountain in full bunny mode.
And probably going to be jumping down checking the Spike Cave entrance, which could be some value.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much else you can do here. You would need to find another connector that will take you back. Yeah, can't do anything with these mini Moldorms yet.
That's real good information to have, though. You might not be able to do anything there just yet, but once you find that Moon Pearl, knowing there are 5 items just chilling right up there makes a pretty easy check.
And we saw Alazan hit up the back of the tavern, one of the very few locations in Entrance Randomizer that isn't randomized.
Yeah, something stupid about doors that they don't like you trying to go into a front-facing door from a back-facing door. It makes things annoying. So it just left the same to avoid that.
Yeah, it's almost as if we're hacking around on this game and doing things that it may not like.
Misery Mire leads to Spike Cave. That could be very annoying in the long run. You can have that one required item in Spike Cave and just have to track down the Misery Mire medallion all over the world to get in that door.
Yep. Oh, I see. There's a big key on the race game that we can't access yet because it's at the race game.
Alzen did find the chicken hut up in this, house where the lady gets real scared of you. And he found the small key of Aghanim's tower in there, so one more of those, and that's an option. But as it stands, you can access the 2 chests in there with a little bit of dark room sequence breaking.
Yep, and we have no idea if that Aga will be necessary. It's uncommon, I feel, in Entrance Randomizer to have to do Aga 1, and with the flags that we have, we will not have to do Aga 2 necessarily.
Yep, although it is possible for, say, the Kakariko well to end up in the pyramid, and you have to fight Aga 2, because there's required stuff in those 5 items, but barring something like that, we just need the crystals, that's all that matters.
Well, we know it won't be a vanilla Ganon, because Ganon's in the well.
I wonder if Lass is as concerned about Ganon in the well as about Timmy.
I haven't asked about Lassie's morals.
It's asking tough questions,
That's what we do here.
And so, Elzen moving up to the Lost Woods here. There hasn't really been much of note in Kakariko. We found one of the entrances to Desert Palace over here. We found that Swamp Palace entrance. We found Ganon and Ganon's tower, which, I guess is a lot of stuff. But nothing immediately relevant is a better way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, that big key to Thieves Town, useful because we do know where Thieves Town is. But yeah, a lot of what we have right now is planning for the future.
Just a big 20 over at the mushroom spot, and now we're going to go into the place that everyone tends to forget when they start playing Entrance Randomizer. This chess game up at the top of Lost Woods here.
It's a connector that Alzen is not going to follow.
We're going to go over here and check what the Lumberjack drop is, which will give some information on potential Aghanim requirement, and check what the Lumberjack hut is, which, could be important. It's a kid that still could be.
A sick kid can be important. A well at the Lumberjacks. So the odds of Aga 1 just went up substantially.
That is just rude. So, who puts a well inside a tree? That just doesn't seem like a good decision.
The logistics of it are extremely questionable, yes.
Oh wow, and over here in the dam, which is the Vanilla Ice Death Mountain Ascent Cave, we got the small key to Thieves Town, so when Alzen gets over to the dam and finds Thieves Town, ironically, he's gonna have access to the full building, less not having the hammer for the big chest.
Yeah, that is a lot of access. We don't know if Thieves Town is necessary, but it's still worth dipping into.
Yeah, it's very rare you find yourself too concerned with that in any kind of Keysanity, but especially Crossworld so early on. Most of the time it's just, hey, I can do a thing, let's do it.
And there's the powder, which will go great with the magic bat, who is in the pyramid.
Okay, I like Magic Bat and Pyramid. That's a lot. That's mean, but not as mean as the well in the tree.
It's got a certain comedy to it, I say.
We'll see how these two continue about. Practically speaking, they've kind of switched places, with Alzen now heading down south, and Check's going to wrap up this stuff at the top of the Lost Woods. But we'll see kind of how things diverge from here when Chex gets done with Kakariko Chex.
As Allison wanders into Thieves Town, see if they decide to tackle as much of it as they can. With no sword, no hammer, no Samaria, they're not going to be able to take out Blind, but they can still do a lot of the checks.
That's a really tough call if you want to go for the max checks, or if you want to wait till later.
Honestly, I would be the type to try and see as much of this dungeon as I can, knowing that it is in logic.
Yeah, I can see a good argument for that. I know after getting the flippers, it's going to be some disappointment, because that'll open up the first chest of Swamp Palace, which nobody wants to be important in Keysanity.
Very true.
And we found Death Mountain. That was that connector in the Lost Woods that Allison did not go through. It takes you up to the top of Death Mountain.
And the top of Speck Rock is the bottom part of the Spiral Cave, so that is a one-way. And there's the front of T-Rock.
Small key to Palace of Darkness can be found in Ice Palace. That's not super useful.
And we see, I believe that was Bumper Cave over near the desert.
Was indeed, and hey, it's Eastern Palace.
There you go. Oh, we found Half Magic. Just hanging out at the Agina spot, so remember, check Agina.
Agina spot, which was Bonk Rocks, and I don't know which one you should check more often, depending on which mode you're playing. Hey, big key on the desert ledge. That's another visible big key that we don't have access to.
Yep, and we have no idea when we'll get access to it. Unless we get Flute, Titan's Mitts, and Mirror, we're just gonna have to wait until we find one of the two connectors that takes us back there. If either of those are connectors at all.
And we found the front entrance to Hookshot Cave, so we know this is going to come out over by the Ice Rod Cave area.
Yep, this was Mini Moldorm. So, there you have it. That's a little convenient, I guess, but not substantially so.
It does at least make nice routing to get over here, check this Ice Palace entrance here, go up and maybe check Hobo where you know there's an item. Hey, Chex gets a shield, that's always so valuable.
That certainly is a thing that happened.
Has he not found the Uncle Drop yet to get that big key of Eastern Palace? That's unfortunate for him.
Has not. Also doesn't have a lamp, so we'll do this in the dark with no sword for sonar, but an experienced enough runner can handle this no problem.
Yeah, the more you play this game, the more dark rooms you end up picking up. Okay, I just can do this on muscle memory. Let's just go with it. So when Chex was going through Spectacle Rock here, he ended up just walking back out the way he came. I wonder if Allison is gonna take the drop and go see where another side of the cave leads to. No, looks like not.
Nope. Chex Human takes the Death Warp out of Eastern. We'll have to come back later with that big key and the bow. You do kind of need that. There's still a little bit more of Death Mountain to give a look at.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario for checks at that point is if the bow is vanilla in the Eastern big chest, because he's probably going to try everything in his power to not come back without getting the bow first.
Absolutely.
And this might be the Old Man Cave. The Old Man Cave, the one where you rescue him from, has to be attached to Death Mountain so you can bring him to his vanilla home. Regardless of where the actual cave is, it does not force you to take the old man on a journey around Hyrule.
Yeah, it can certainly be a little tricky to navigate this one. Certainly trickier than Eastern, but again, Chex Human, no sweat. That was actually a vanilla exit on that one.
It was an old man paying off with 20 bucks, and we now have the privilege of, starting 10 feet to the left of Sanctuary.
Those are 10 very good feet. That's saving frames.
That's true. That can be, the difference between the winner and the loss if everything works out perfectly.
And there's Meyer. Turns out if you drop through the Spectacle Rock Cave, you end up here.
And there's the hint tile that everyone forgets exists, and despite it being right there, Chex only has 2 hearts, and he could just grab hearts out of the pots in that room, and decides, nah, I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, when you're in bunny mode, I don't believe that would work, but either way, it's one hint, whatever.
Alright. Can Super Bunny, at least. Well, you could, but with 2 hearts, you would die trying the Super Bunny, so yeah, that's a...
Now, I did see Ice Palace over by the Lakeside Fortune Teller, so that is readily available, aside from the fact that we don't have a way to get past the first room.
And so, we might be looking for Bombos. We're definitely looking for Fire Rod. Well, probably looking for Fire Rod at some point. Either way, one of those 2 opens that up, and Ice Palace, if you know the bomb jump, even though it's not logic access, you can pretty much clear the entire dungeon except the big chest with 0 keys, so...
Well, Chex Human just found a little more access to Death Mountain, having found a connector that pops you out at the Tower of Hera.
Now going back through this connector, which I believe is the one to the Lost Wood.
Yep.
We're gonna see our first trip over to the general Eastern Palace area. It looks like we find a Checkerboard Cave on the way there. So I've been marking down where dungeon entrances were, and I realized I didn't mark down where the T-Rock one we found earlier was, so eventually we'll find that again.
That was, I believe, the entryway that you dropped down for Spectacle Rock. It was certainly on Death Mountain, one of those. I think it was the actual drop-down one.
That sounds about right.
That might end up being one of the more convenient ones, depending how other connectors shake out. But in this mode, a lot of runners end up doing Turtle Rock kind of backwards. popping in around the laser bridge or perhaps at the big chest and just making their way in reverse.
Yeah, the annoying thing about T-Rock in normal mode is that, normal Keysanity mode, is that if you want to check all the chests, you need all 4 keys. But with Entrance, if you go in from the back door, you can save a key by going backwards, and then with 3 keys, you can check all the chests in the dungeon, so it's a nice.
Yeah, and of course you're always able to steal the key if you want to skip over the lava lake chest if you're feeling bold. But in Keysanity, that has a higher chance of coming back to bite you. But then you're getting into the kind of gambles that you have to play and decide what you're going to do in these modes.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do, because gambling when it comes to Keysanity in general is just, it's a huge risk. You're sitting there like, well, I could go for this low percent play, or I could just do what a lot of people do and just slowly, steadily full clear the world.
Yep. I've certainly had seeds where a good gamble is the difference between a fairly seamless clear and a pedestal seed.
Yeah, I had a few of those recently.
And of course it's me, so I always ended up with the one that made it a pedestal seed. Now, I believe Human is checking out new areas. At this point, I don't think we saw Witch's Hut or the Zora domain.
I want to say we saw the hut.
Yeah, on second thought, I think we did. We did see that one.
Taking the whirlpool to get back by Link's house. Probably gonna head down over to the desert area if I had to check. Get that Agina's Cave half magic, as well as checking this heart container from the Dammy Unflooded.
Yep. Also, does not have any means of fighting blind, so no reason to go back into there just yet, even with the keys.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument to go in there for the 2 extra chests that can be checked, but what are the odds that's the choice you want to go with?
Yeah, you really got to wind down your other options. And we're not even a half hour into the seed, so we are still in, exploration mode, more or less. Our runners don't even have moon pearls yet.
Although we do have a good deal of information, at least. We have the Eastern Palace entrance, we have 2 of the Desert Palace entrances, we know where Swamp is, we know where Thieves Town, Ice Palace, T-Rock, and GT are. So we've got a lot of information, just, not a lot of items.
And for that matter, not a lot of keys. Yes, with Allison over in Eastern Palace, holding onto that big key, so we will be able to see what is in the big chest once they get there. We'll see if that is an unfortunate bit of news for Human or just something to worry about later.
It'll be interesting. Hey, there's a Cane of Samaria on the Hylia Island, which is a thing that you can actually, consistently make yourself go to.
Yeah, and you know what? Lake Hylia Island will always be there. It will always be in Lake Hylia.
And the mirror will never decide, hey, I know you mirrored at Hylia Island, but we're gonna put you down over in, over in Death Mountain in the Dark World. That'll be fun, right?
Don't give the developers ideas. Just a big 20 in the Eastern Big Chest, so Human can breathe a sigh of relief and has no idea that that is the case.
Yep, in reality, he's probably sitting there still with it on his mind, like, I should have had that big key before I went into Eastern, and really kind of sweating the idea that that's possibly some progression that he's going to be missing out on and have to go back for.
Yeah, especially since at this point we're starting to run out of entrances to go check.
So, progression on Zora for 500 rupees?
It's a possibility. I also don't know that we saw all 3 exits for Desert Palace. So there are still, connectors that are in logic and accessible that we haven't seen the full extent of.
We got Allison heading to the left from Link's house here. Gonna see where they're headed off to. Meanwhile, checks catching up on these Eastern Palace area checks that we saw a little bit ago. Gonna knock these out, and then they're both gonna be pretty lined up in terms of what they've explored, I think.
Yeah, just about at that point, I would say.
Okay, now being right here, you gotta try to check this first chest, but you don't have an actual sword or hammer or anything. So gonna freeze these guys and then bomb them to death. That'll be fun.
You know what? You get a bomb rebate though, so it's worth it. For the big key to GT.
That is not very rude, unless hammer is upstairs GT. Or I guess not just hammer. The hammer or the Swamp Palace small key could be upstairs GT and make that very rude. Otherwise, there's really no, priority to get over there sooner.
So Allison has found the archery game and is going to take a moment to farm up some rupees. Probably thinking, yeah, Zora's a possibility.
Yep, and the arrow game, if you know the trick to it, is actually like 100% free to get all 5 targets. So once you find it, it's just infinite money to know where the arrow game is. Of course, that infinite money comes at the cost of, infinite time spent in that room, but...
Of course. Ah, yes, this is a connector that we hadn't seen anything of earlier. Takes you to the bumper ledge over in Dark World. This is an interesting connection to have. Checks Human is in Bunny, but all of this is logically accessible, and if the Moon Pearl is sitting out in a room somewhere, then, there's your access.
Yeah, but even logically inaccessible stuff, he could have pulled some shenanigans. Oh, the waterfall is Super Bunny Cave, and Allison gonna go take care of Zora first, but that's a connector with 2 items in it. But yeah, you can also use some minor glitches while you're in bunny mode running around the Dark World.
You could also use those boots that are over on Zora Ledge that Allison is about to pick up.
Yeah, those are pretty good. And then we find Paradox Cave, the upper entrance over on Chex' side. But he's a bunny, so he can't really do much there, but that's a lot of stuff we just found very quickly.
Just the old life lesson off of Zora.
Listen, Zora can give me nothing if he's gonna, give me the boots for free afterwards.
And Chex Human taking a death. I think this will set up Super Bunny at this point. Yep.
It's actually a little bit different. This one's Dungeon Bunny Revival, which just brings you back as full Link instead of Super Bunny level.
Still has the same net effect of being able to do things, if the jellyfish gets out of your way, of course.
True, you can just do more things. having just been on the heels of playing in and talking over the Overworld Glitches tournament a lot, my glitch specifics are, kind of on the mind.
Yes, we did see Chex Human got the big key to Tower of Hera here, and Allison about to peek on the Super Bunny Cave. Not much of value there.
Gonna use the mummy as a weapon against the other Bari. That's wonderful.
That's the kind of inventive thinking we'd like to see here.
So shouts at Super Bunny Cave exit, bringing you right behind the pegs on the Hammer Hut in Dark Kakariko.
Yes, Chex Human is running around amongst Skull Woods. This is an area that is randomized and shuffled, but only amongst itself, thanks to the unique drop-down front entrance kind of combinations.
Yeah, you got the back entrance, the one that actually takes you to Mothfield, that's gonna be somewhere, and you got everything else that's gonna be exactly where you would expect it to be. I thought this was Keysanity.
Well, there's your Keysanity, the map of Hyrule Castle, over in Skull Woods. Unfortunately, the map doesn't tell you where things are.
I mean, it tells you where, the rooms in Hyrule Castle are if you get confused.
Yeah, and it will tell us what the prize for a given dungeon is. But Hyrule Castle doesn't have a prize, so oh well. Yes, Chex Human gonna do, I suspect, a little bit more bunny roaming. Again, we haven't seen the Moon Pearl, and it could very easily be out here in the Dark World.
Oh, that's a heart container. That's almost like a Moon Pearl.
Yes, when you're in bunny mode, you cannot lift anything or open chests, but you can pick up things off the ground. I believe you can interact with NPCs, but I am not positive because I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I need to do that.
Yep, you can, in fact, interact with NPCs. That's sometimes required or in inverted as well.
And Allison gets a hint from the bee that the big chest in Ganon's tower is not actually valuable.
I don't know, compasses are pretty valuable. How do you not get lost without them? Okay, Check's going to push his way past the mini Moldorms here. Now he can't check any of the items in here, but he can check the other doors.
And if either of the other doors lead to the, well, actually no, it would had to have been that door that would lead to the Light World to then give you access to the items in Paradox Cave, because that would turn you back to regular mode.
Indeed, and it felt probably bad for Chex that he dodged the mini Moldorms and then came out literally one screen below for having done so. Going for the final entrance, gonna push this block out of the way once he walks out. Cannot go right back in unless he finds the mirror here. Oh.
Nope. That's a whole lot of not a mirror.
It's like the location where you want the mirror, but, you know, not actually the mirror. So, Alzun now going around doing some of the same stuff. We'll see if they also go through Paradox in the same way. Chex, you know, is still running around without boots until he manages to make his way to the Zora area.
Which it's looking like. I was about to say might be the plan, but then you walked right past the archery game. Oh no, I had them mixed up.
I mean, he's gonna be disappointed when those boots lead to nothing, but he's gonna be happy to have the boots.
Well, I mean, boots do open up a lot of locations. Allison clearly hasn't found anything out of the ones that they've checked so far, but you know, there's a reasonable chance that will lead to something eventually. Oh, Shaq's got a little flustered on the pattern.
So for anyone watching who doesn't know, you want to fire the arrow while standing right up against this guy, right as the little Octorok plushie gets by the end of the first set of two curtains there. Like, right as it hits the dark line of the second curtain image, you want to fire the arrow, and it'll not only hit the Octorok every time, but it'll skip right by the hand every time as well. Now with 500 rupees, gonna head over to Zora. Meanwhile, Alzun grabbing this other small key in the pinball room. Unlike Chex, doesn't look like he's gonna make a point to save it, just gonna go through the door up here.
Now, of course, we are focusing on these two runners. We are featuring them on our restream, but this is a qualifying match for the tournament, so we actually have quite a few other participants. I believe we had 18 or 19, somewhere in that range.
That sounds about right. But yeah, if you want to check out more of the people racing, although they aren't featured on this particular restream or on a restream, you could always head over to the SRL page, and that'll give you links to everyone in the race's streams, where you can go see how everyone's doing, all that kind of thing.
Chex Human getting the unfortunate news on the Peg House over in Village of Outcasts.
So we gotta have some more stuff going on in the Dark World around here. Both of these two kind of cut off before going through Village of Outcasts stuff, and nonetheless going beyond that down to the southern part of Hyrule, where some stuff could be going on. So I think we've seen all the Light World accessible entrances already.
I believe so, unless we've missed some connector somewhere, or found it and not gone through it.
True, I am actually pretty sure there have been a couple connectors that we haven't seen the other side of.
And I think Allison is in one of them. Heading into Desert Palace with those boots can grab what was on the torch. But again, I'm pretty sure we didn't see all 3 exits.
Yep, and it'll be nice to have the Cane of Burna that's about to be grabbed come time for getting in that Misery Mire door and going to Spike Cave eventually. Seems like all a long con right now. Okay, the save and quit out leads me to believe that we did see that third entrance and just it was unimportant and that made it go unnoticed. Also, interesting note, that Cane of Burna actually puts Blind in logic, which is kind of entertaining. He could go kill Blind.
Yeah, looks like that's Alizen's current plan.
Now, the downside is you don't have the hammer, and the big chest is going to be, you know, crossed by as you go through to fight Blind. And you really want to hope that the hammer isn't required for an item in there.
Yeah, you don't want to have to triple dip any dungeon. Although if you're gonna triple dip a dungeon, I guess Thieves Town is not the worst.
Yeah, all things considered, I would say it's one of the more common triple dips, despite being so easy to clear. Just because people do so often go, okay, I'm gonna go in here for the first 4. Oh no, now I got a way to kill Blind, go in here for that. And then, you know, an hour and a half later, after clearing the rest of the world, go, okay, fine, I'm going back. And that hint tile there letting us know that a sword could be found in Swamp Palace, which is actually, you know, really nice to know once we eventually find a small key and the hammer.
Yeah. Well, now we might not need the hammer, but we will definitely need the small key.
Also, Chex tried to pay for information from this guy right here, and got told, you don't have enough money, go away. Now, Chex is running south here, gonna head into this shop, which was the right side of the desert, and also gonna go grab his Cane of Burna.
And we'll see if the maiden's holding on to anything. Nope.
Just big 20.
So at this point, I really feel like Blind's gotta have something.
And we still got other options. It's not a low chance of Blind having something, but we definitely have some more options going on in the Dark World overworld. With half magic and Burna, you have a little bit of leeway on the Blind fight. Now, Alizen went in here with not full magic, so that leeway is limited, but still has a bit.
Yeah, it also kind of throws the script off, but Alizen handles it pretty seamlessly regardless. Gets a small key to Turtle Rock, but also our first crystal.
Yep, so, you know, Blind having nothing as, you know, could be expected of any single location. We kind of thought there was a higher chance because we were getting lower on stuff, but small key is, I mean, it's going to be required eventually, just not right now.
Yeah, that also makes our second Turtle Rock small key in Thieves Town, which is an interesting confluence. Yeah, at this point, like, you gotta be in your head running down that list of connectors that you've seen and just, did I clear every one?
I'm gonna bet on either the bomb shop or Swamp Palace entrance having having an item that's important.
Yeah, those are accessible and have not been seen, along with, I believe there's another cave, like, around the north of Lake Hylia in the Dark World. Once you start getting off, like, the fortune tellers and the chest games, there's not really good known names for those places. It's just like that door over there.
Pretty much. Yeah, go to the Dark World version of the Ice Rod Cave, but not the Ice Rod Cave, the cave next to the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, for that one in particular, I would just be like, go to the Dark World shopping mall and just kind of flail around for a moment. You'll find it. This is also why people don't ask me for directions.
I mean, to be fair, those are some pretty solid directions. Going to be exiting out in the Mire area. This is the first time Alazun has been over here, so this is not new to us, but new to him. I don't think we ever saw checks go in the right side door here, as far as I recall.
No, he did, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was this spike hint that you can't even check as a bunny.
Why can the bunny read the book but not read the telepathy tile? That's just not fair.
Because rabbits are literate but not psychic. Just ask anyone who's had a pet rabbit; they will tell you.
That seems fair. Also, Alazun missed out on a bit of a check there. Because he had as much health as he did versus Chex, who was there real low on health. He could have drawn the Murder Dactyl up from a little bit south and damage boosted into the door of Mire Shed. And that would have allowed him to grab the item in the King's Tomb chest while a bunny.
You know what we didn't see, though? Because we have been to the Mire area, but there is the lower cave in the Mire area, down in the southeast. And I don't believe Chex Human looked at that when they were there.
I forgot that cave existed. You might be right on that front.
Now again, that would have to be something with an exposed item or a connector that leads to a new part of the light world. But that is an orphaned location at this point.
Yeah, that's a rough potential if... Oh, that's right. Lucidor bringing up a good point. That's the cave they came out of.
Oh, that's the cave they came out of.
Sometimes as the options get lower in these seeds, it's very easy to start going, wait a second, does this entrance exist? And it's like, well, we've seen it, but just, don't remember it because it was real dumb.
Yeah, we've seen that entrance, and it was an exit. You sometimes have to think about entrance randomizer as exit randomizer. It's very easy to forget when places have multiple entrances and exits.
It's looking like Alazun is gonna head over to the Village of Outcasts area, which would be nice. Now, he's gonna find Paradox Cave up here, but hopefully he heads south and just keeps going and doesn't worry too much about this.
Oh, gonna worry. And Chex Human did worry about that big chest over in Eastern and went out of their way to look at it and found nothing.
No, don't drop through there, Alazun. You can't come back. Just go check the other doors that we haven't seen yet. A C-shaped house is Agina's cave, which I believe we saw on Check's side, but can't do anything with.
Yep. And we can't go into the Thieves Town location or the brewery. So this is it for Village of Outcasts.
Yep, not gonna keep going south, gonna go through this door, get locked out just as Chex did. And yep.
And Check's giving us the hookshot bonk for a shield.
You know,
Are we going to see a hover? We're seeing a hover.
Yep, gets that down on the first try, which is always a plus. Gonna do a couple of bonks to save out on how much hovering you gotta do. I was gonna say, shout out to everyone super confident that the bonkable chest or blind were gonna have items because of the boots existing, and they did not. Because random is random. Yeah, that bottle we could run over to Sick Kid, who is over by Ice Rod Cave, if I recall. Or no, he's the Lumberjack House. But it's out of logic, so that's not a thing. Check's just kind of sitting on the menu for a moment, trying to figure out where he wants to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Chad at this point. Bunnying down to South Dark World. It's about all you got. And fortunately, there's not a lot of places once you do that that could have something. So, you'll know yay or nay pretty fast.
I'm gonna laugh though if it turns out that we have not in fact seen the left side desert exit. And it just takes you up on the East Death Mountain. It's like, oh hey, nice.
That would be classic entrance randomizer.
Okay, we're getting the Sick Kid check.
Wow!
Okay.
That's a mood pearl!
So, Hookshot is out there somewhere. That's
or another bottle.
South. Or another bottle, yeah. That is one of the few times that hovering has become a major sequence break.
Well, we're seeing Allison doing the south of Dark World, found the top part of Spiral Cave, which I don't believe Super Bunny will let you get that chest. Either way, that's not in logic.
Super Bunny would get you the chest, but yeah, it's a glitch, so it would be out of logic. So Chex is now, mentally going, what just happened? Where was I supposed to go? Obviously not where I went, it got me the thing, but where was I supposed to go?
Yeah, and we're not inferring on that one. Chex Human does have a face cam on their stream, and you can see the face. You can see the confusion. This has been a very confusing start. Very bizarre. There's Mimic Cave over at the Dark Fortune Teller.
That's still not what we need. Chex can go over to this mini Moldorm cave in Spike Cave here. Gonna get his 5 items right away. And we're coming up to the Swamp Palace exit entrance, which kinda has to be something.
It's Hype Cave. It's a hook shot.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a thing. So now Allison can go back to Hookshot Cave, where he's going to find his bottle that he has to take to the sick kid to get the moon pearl, to go back down to that hype cave to get the other 4 items. How friendly is that? I love this scene, and I'm very glad that I'm not playing it.
Oh, absolutely.
And Ally actually not going to head over to the Hookshot Cave stuff right away. Going to head instead to East Death Mountain. There are a few doors over here we have not seen. They could be important stuff, so it makes sense to go check this out.
Yeah, but of course, if any of these have a bottle, then hey, that saves the Hookshot Cave check entirely. Because that was the only thing of interest in there.
Very true. We do find a fortune teller and a dark room. Yay, dark room. Our last East Death Mountain cave is a rupee farm rock.
Yep, so you have to bunny down to Hype Cave to get the hookshot, to go to Hookshot Cave, to get the bottle, to go to Sick Kid, to get the Moon Pearl. Who wants to do a fetch quest, huh?
I like Chex's route more. I'm a firm supporter of just hovering Hookshot Cave every time.
Well, it gets you a hammer, so yeah, I'm in support of that part.
And now he has normal Dark World access. That makes Hype Cave actually, right nearby. We found our first small key to pod and a fighter sword as well over there in Paradox.
Yeah, it was high time this seed started to, open up a little bit. After that ridiculous bottleneck, we should start to see swords and other, very useful items.
You would think that. Worth noting though, with the hookshot from Hype Cave and the hammer from Paradox Cave, the entire left side of GT is now in logic.
Oh, that is true.
And hey, that was very close to being in the right spot.
Also close to being in the right spot. I mean, wrong dimension, but about the right spot.
Yeah, just, move to the Dark World alongside with Blind, want to keep its owner, having a place to stay. Also, yeah, I definitely did forget that GT small keys were relevant, but we did just find one. Yay!
Yeah, you don't need a lot of them, but the more that we have to dig around the basement, the more that we need. If we're able to avoid a decent amount of that, then yeah, we only need a couple.
And Elzen, now with the Moon Pearl, doing a similar play to what Chex did, immediately going to check Mini Moldorm Cave, having the hookshot, which makes it a little bit easier to get through this.
And we'll take a little interlude for the digging game. Guaranteed to find it within, I believe, 30 digs.
And we are pushing that limit today.
Worth it, though.
Yeah, that ain't bad. You know, it's not as necessarily useful in entrance since there's not necessarily useful stuff by the warp spots. But with all three of your save and quit spots in the same spot, yeah, you'll take flute any day.
Oh, yeah. Now, I do have to hope that Allison remembers to finish the digging game. I have seen cases where the digging game goes on so long that someone doesn't realize they didn't get the item. And that is a very tragic moment.
Let's see. So we still haven't seen Tower of Herod, Skullwood's Back, or Misery Mire, or any of the entrances to Hyrule Castle, whether that be the castle proper or Aga's Tower. So that's what we're looking for on that front.
Yeah, and we still have very little information in terms of what dungeons we actually need to do. So we don't know how far along we are on getting all our crystals.
Yeah, we found a couple maps. We haven't seen any map checks.
So yes, this is not going to give Chex Human any new access. It's really just a lot of convenience for right now. We don't even need it for Mire access or anything.
Dropping down to Vanilla Magic Bat.
Wait. Oh, so no, the Ganon drop is a fairy. I had the entrances mixed up on those.
I don't blame you. Those two look almost exactly the same. At least when you drop into them.
So yeah, that really rules out having to do Haga 2 then.
I mean, you never know. What if you really need to heal up sometime? So we're getting the Blind Hut check part 2. We are pretty much at a point of parity here by the time Alla is done with this and checking the dig game.
Yep, which means Chex Human just has a little bit of a lead on this pair of runners. Given, they've already done the digging game and all that. But still have to go and get that hook shot.
Yeah, and Alazon knows to head back down that way. There's a Master Sword in Nagina's cave, which Alla did not go check out, which is unfortunate for them. I think they may have forgotten Agina's cave after having, been right there and been inside the cave earlier. They may have forgot they didn't get the item.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a meme that Agina never has anything, but no, Agina's got something. Check Agina.
Stumpy's just got a map to Misery Mire, telling us whether that's required. And we get our first map check. We got a green pendant in Skull Woods and crystals in both Mire and T-Rock. So we now know 3 of our 7 crystals.
Checks human hitting another one of those easily forgotten spots, and it's Hera this time. So the bomb shop bonk rocks, not only being a little bit of a tongue twister, is a dungeon.
Yep, and we did find the big key of Hera earlier, so we're gonna be able to do everything except the basement, which nobody wants to begin with.
Oh, but Allison right on their tail.
So both of these two are going to kill Moldorm because nobody knows what's going on in the dungeon. Obviously this is Keysanity, so music does not tell you anything. It is shuffled at random. You could have 10 dungeons with pendant music, 10 dungeons with crystal music, and anything in between. Quake can be found near a bat-like man. I don't know the entrance shuffle hints well enough to actually know who that refers to.
I would be inclined to say Magic Bat, but at the same time, some of the Dark World characters are slightly badish. So, yeah.
Okay, in the back of a hype cave I'm getting from chat, which is kind
Fair.
of my guess since we already saw Magic Bat. Moldorm with $300 and a pendant. So we are either one pendant or 4 crystals of information away from knowing what we need to do to actually complete this seed.
Saying the hype guy looks like a bat. I think he kind of looks like Yoda. If you're gonna ask me.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the right on time hint about how we can find the blue cane in desert. Checks not checking the vanilla hype cave spot on his way down here, but gonna get his hook shot now that he's going to. And he's gonna have that moment of realization of, oh, so that's how logic worked.
He very much had that moment. And found
Very
Quake.
much so. Also, that is now 2 of the 4 bottles locked directly behind getting the item before them. You know, you got the hook shot in Hype Cave and go in the back and you get the bottle. You get the Moon Pearl from Sick Kid, go to Mini Moldorm Cave, and boom, there's, you know, the other bottle.
Yep. Bottles are apparently a strict Dark World resource. The Light World will have none of this sorcery.
Holding liquids to go to other places? Impossible.
Blasphemy.
And hey, we can check this Mimic Cave this time around. It's the Compass of Swamp. Hooray!
So yes, for those who are not super familiar with Keysanity and why we're a little snarky about the compasses, they will tell you when you are in a dungeon how many of the item locations you have and haven't checked, which is nice information as you're learning the game, but when you're at a higher tier of play, such that you're entering yourself in tournaments, not super useful information.
Yeah, if it comes in handy during those, you know, last minute, oh god, I forgot a location existed somewhere, what did I do wrong? They can save you in those situations, but people who are at this level very rarely end up in those situations.
There's a cape in the Circle of Bushes cave, which is over in the Dark Shopping Mall.
Yep, where we also found the back of Desert Palace, so we know where to go to finish that dungeon once we get a fire sword. And the big key, because, you know, that's how Keysanity works. You actually need the key still.
Yeah. Allison, I guess, decides to steal the key for some reason. You can do that. The game, again, logic will not expect you to do that. It will expect you to use the keys in the worst possible way.
Okay, so Pod is also a crystal. It's going to be our other 5/6 alongside Thieves Town. But yeah, I kind of like the stealing a key play out of Desert in Crossworld Keysanity, because if Desert is a pendant, you're not going to need it. If it's a crystal, chances are with how much you have to clear in a Crossworld Keysanity seed, you're probably going to stumble across the key anyway.
That's very true. Just a little money from the Quakefish, not gonna bother picking it up. Allison is gonna bother to dip back into Ganon's tower. Again, we have that hammer so we can start to peek the left side.
I like it. You're limited because of the lack of keys, but there's a lot of stuff in GT, and you can find most of it with just that one key.
Allison having a little stumble with the quick swap, which is enabled in cross keys, so runners have that option.
See, and that's why menuing is the best. You don't accidentally use, Quake for no reason with normal menuing. So Stalfos' room in GT was empty, going to continue moving onwards. Now, Allison is doing something with Quick Swap that a lot of people do that is not the best option. Just kind of focusing on using Quick Swap, but at a certain point of item collection, the menu becomes legitimately significantly faster than trying to slowly flip through items to the one you want, like this. One of the biggest things about Quick Swap is knowing when to use it and when to menu, and that's not an easy thing to keep track of, especially if you don't use it often.
Yeah, such is the case with so many little conveniences and quality of life things that you see in this and other randomizers. There's a time for them, and there are times when it didn't exist for a reason.
We are coming up on the randomizer room. We've got $50. We've got a compass to Turtle Rock. We've got a small key to Hyrule Castle. And a heart piece. Nothing useful.
The right ledge on West Death Mountain leads to Turtle Rock, which I believe that is guiding you to the entrance we have already seen.
Yep, that sounds correct. Now, we are going to get to see Ice Armos done probably with the Cane of Burna, which is far and away the best weapon Allison has for fighting them right now.
Yeah, I would not want to tackle this with a hammer for sure.
People underestimate how great Cane of Burna is as a weapon for these guys. Although you do want to wait until they get lined in place and start moving so that they all just kind of gather up at the top there.
And Chex Human finds Venus over in Palace of Darkness and picks up a bomb upgrade. Because why not?
Get a shovel, we get a small key to pod, and we get the magic meter.
It's a mirror behind Ice Armos. How about that? I think Chex Human is fortunately going to make about the same run, so about to pick one up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the mirror isn't in logic, I don't think, with just... Well, we got 2 GT small keys, maybe? I don't know GT key logic well, because usually by the time you get to GT, it's just get it done. Also, quick response to chat, we got a hint about the GT big chest saying that it was just the compass to Thieves Town or T-Rock, I forget which. So he skipped it because he knew it was worthless.
Allison taking a death warp. Not
I like
positive
this.
what for.
So he's gonna go use that key he stole to check the 2 chests on the right side. If they're important, he's going to save and quit out. If not, he's going to do a hard reset and keep that key.
Very smart.
Yep, I really like that way to use it. And with a heart container there,
Yep,
here comes the hard reset.
That sort of play is very rare in normal modes, but rather common in Keysanity. If you remember to do it, of course.
Yep, I remember back during the Keysanity tournament at the start of last year. Keysanity was still new, and people started using that strategy of doing a hard reset to check the lava chests in T-Rock. And people in, the chat would always freak out about if it was allowed or not, and now it's just kind of a regular thing you do with using hard resets to preserve checks.
Yeah, you'll also see people do it a lot with the mushroom if they've gotten the Kina Samaria early, because having the mushroom allows you to do fake powder, which can sequence break the magic bat, but you do need the Kina Samaria to pull that off.
A few of these last DM checks, and nothing really useful on the path Ellison took, so gonna probably flute right back to Death Mountain and go check the other option. Now, I do miss me some overworld glitches where, we could check all the entrances on Death Mountain right now. There's still a few they can't check right now, which can be kind of frustrating.
Yeah, but with that mirror, they can check this checkerboard cave location, along with the stuff in the back of Desert. And here's Laser Bridge.
Yeah, you're not gonna complain about that. There's another small key to GT for their trouble.
A bow! That's worth it.
That is so rude. So, to get the bow, you had to kill Ice Armos to get the mirror. So, the bow was 100% locked behind Ice Armos. That's just mean.
That is. As was the lamp, which is not always a big deal, but so far is our only fire source.
Yeah, that puts the rest of Eastern Palace into logic. It's going to give us the ability to, with a bomb jump, clear the back of Skull Woods that was found a little bit ago by checks. It's not a huge thing necessarily, but it gives a few things we can clear now.
And checks remembering that mirror gives us the Cane of Samaria.
So at this point, in terms of items, we only need to find the Fire Rod. In terms of dungeons, we still haven't seen Misery Mire or Palace of Darkness, which both could be required. One of them, at least, is required. And we still need to track down a bunch of keys.
Allison finding the belly of T-Rock over at the landless entryway. Going to dive in a little bit and get some more item checks in.
Apparently the desert area is just the home of T-Rock. And unfortunately for Allison here, did not go grab that Cane of Samaria yet, so cannot go and clear out the entirety of T-Rock sans the boss.
Chex Human is going to use the mirror yet again, this time to head up to the top of Hyrule Castle, see what the Aga Tower spot is. That's nothing.
And we got these two other exits of Hyrule Castle that have yet to be seen. One is the chess game. Well, that was just a heart piece. That's not very exciting at all.
Allison accidentally runs off the desert ledge and misses the big key.
Rip.
And Chex Human talks to the hand and finds out about the hammer that they already have.
Okay, so now I'm guessing that Allison is going right on back to that mire, get that big key and check the desert ledge, or check the left side desert door is what I was going for there. But first gonna clear out Eastern.
Yeah, you got the gear for it. Probably just shrugging to themselves like, whatever, we'll cover it later.
Yeah, it's not too much of a thing going on.
Actually, I just realized Chex Human came out at the Bumper Cave, which, having the mirror, that's a mirror spot, and that's a pretty easy one to forget. Because that is the only way to get to what would be the exit of Death Mountain in the Light World.
Yeah, I can't count how many times when I was first starting to play Entrance that I got lost by that entrance, so eventually someone's got to check it, right? These two aren't both going to forget it.
Well, let's hope not. Yes, that is the front of castle at the T-Rock Laser Eyes.
That's good. That's up to... I forget how many items were in the back. I think it was all 3 items, so... Well, wait, this is Keysanity, so item count doesn't matter. So yeah, this is like, 4 items that can be found here.
Yep, 4 items plus 2 more exits.
Got a little more normal Armos kill. Didn't get the quick kill, but going to clear it out pretty cleanly and get $20 and a crystal from Eastern Palace. Okay, so that is 5 of our crystals known.
We just have 3 mysteries left.
Yep, and you always hope to find the 3rd pendant earlier so that you can just mark off everything remaining as crystals instead of getting that information piecemeal.
I just enjoy watching the fight checks Human just did. And getting the Titan's mitts as a reward. That's for style points.
Definitely not the fastest way to kill that guard, but definitely the best way, and getting Titan's mitts out of it is not bad at all. Meanwhile, we nabbed the book out of the Mire Shed, which is a King's Tomb over on Alizon's side, so that's going to be Bombos and Ether Tablet opened up.
Yep, along with the front entrance to Desert. And that's a big key that we are going to want.
That is, and we did already see the front entrance to Desert. It was nothing of value. Alizon actually mirrored into there. But hey, we find Misery Mire, which is our second to last dungeon we had to track down.
But with no Samaria, Alizon is not going to be able to finish this. Also, not having the key. So yeah, just pop in, make a note of it, and carry on.
I'm gonna take a guess here. I could be wrong, but I think that mirror out by Alizon there was remembering. Oh wait, the cane was visible over on Hylia Island. Why am I gonna dive in here without the cane when I can go grab it first?
Mm-hmm. And we see that Mimic Cave is Aga Tower. Which again, our runners have the small key, so they can get both of those checks in. And yeah, that is all within logic and could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you dive in there and get the items, and I think at that point you just go ahead and clear it out since there are 5 items locked behind Aghanim in the well.
Yeah. It is a little bit of a gamble, but again, these are modes where gambles are increasingly useful.
Well, see, now I'd say checking the 2 items in the tower is the opposite of a gamble, so to speak.
Yeah,
and
clearing
then
out
the rest of the way is probably not. You're talking, maybe 2 to 3 minute difference.
Yeah, fair. Although finding your way up to the top of Dark Death Mountain is also pretty nice. And that's pretty ice.
No, that's pretty fire.
Yeah, no, I have questions now.
I also have some questions.
I have many temperature-related questions.
So that puts us in item no mode, so to speak. We know where every item that we need to beat the game is, but we're still missing keys. Lots and lots of keys. Actually, I take that back. There's the possibility that the Ether Medallion blocks Spike Cave, which blocks a required key. In which case, we might need that Ether Medallion.
Well, or other, I suppose other locations that might still have items. I don't think we've seen every one of them so far.
True, I'm just talking from a quote-unquote item go mode perspective. Ether is the only thing that could potentially be required, and it would need to be, since we know Spike Cave is in Mire, it would need to be a single item in Spike Cave being required.
Yeah, that's certainly not unheard of. I've had required big keys in Spike Cave many a time.
It's always so much fun. Depending on our crystal and pendant layout, we need a lot of things. We need at least the big key pod and a couple more small keys depending on how much needs cleared out. We don't need anything for Ice Palace to clear that. If that's a crystal, then we're, as good as ever for that, now that we have the Fire Rod. T-Rock, we know where the big key is. We had enough small keys where we should be able to clear that out. We need the Swamp Palace small key if it's a crystal. We need the Desert big key if it's a crystal. So quite a bit to go, but not a crazy amount of stuff.
Oh, we finally found the potion shop. In one of those, very difficult mirror locations when you're playing Entrance Randomizer.
And this also gets us this big key, which is the big key of pod.
Which is a crystal, so that is necessary.
Yep, thanks to the bomb shop man, we actually knew what pod had going on.
And speaking of pod,
that's a pretty nice find, because we need to do it. Now the question is, do you get Helmosaur done while you're here, or do you not? Okay, well, after finding that key, you probably just get Helmosaur done while you're here.
Like, they're literally making this not bow locked. In the classic formula. And we find out there's 10 arrows at the coffee break, so nobody's going to be hanging around in Hera for that long.
Not very likely.
Well, Allison is down to a single arrow, has to pick up a little refill.
So I'm assuming that Crossworld Keysanity is victim to the same very rare low potential soft lock that regular Keysanity is. In which case, if you're gonna do Helmosaur before you found enough keys to full clear, you want to hammer jump, because if you hammer jump and don't spend that key there, you cannot possibly fall victim to that rare little bug of logic, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know if that bug has been completely resolved. I mean, randomizer logic is a gnarly beast. But anything you do to save just a single small key in pod will completely avoid it.
And pod has the big key of Desert Palace, which is a thing we needed. So now with only 3 keys, Alazon going back around the bow-locked way to save more keys. Now, you can get through every check in here with 4 keys if you do this every time you go for a trip around back. If they choose not to do the vanilla big key chest or the harmless hellway, then they can see everything else in here with just the 3 keys they had at the start.
Yep, and of course, if you're in go mode and just need to tackle Helmosaur, then all you need is a single small key and a dream. Well, and a big key.
I feel like you should just be able to lockpick the big door, I have the small key, it probably fits in there somehow.
I don't think Link rolled high on whatever skill gets you lockpicking. I haven't played enough RPGs to finish that joke successfully. But we did find Ether over in Pod.
Yep, so that's the last of the possibly required items that they need. Allison just needs to get that fire rod in Ice Rod Cave. Chex is about to get his bow. And then key-wise, we are still looking for, well, with the big key of Ice Palace, that doesn't change anything. We need the Mire big key. We potentially need the Swamp small key. And that's honestly about it.
Now, Chex Human is in a position where they could have gone and fought Trinex right now, but is going to take care of the rest of the dungeon first.
Yeah, probably a wise call. Our last item check here in Pod is just $300. And once Helmosaur is dead, this will make it possible to do the Pyramid Fairy entrance. But we are 3 Pod small keys out of logic for getting to that entrance, so it probably won't be treated as a priority at all.
Yeah, for as much as our runners have bounced in and out of logic, you want to keep track of where you actually sit on that. Because otherwise you're bound to lead yourself down an unfortunate garden path. Ooh, Chex Human taking a fair bit of damage, has not found any mail upgrades. So, green mail Trinex, a little sketchy.
Yeah, he makes it through though, and will get rewarded for his trouble with 10 arrows.
Well, you could have gone to Tower of Hera and waited in a basement and gotten the same reward. The crystal is a little more valuable though, so good choice.
Who knows, maybe the crystal would have dropped in Hera basement. I know Chex knows some major glitches, he could probably make it happen.
Unfortunately, those are not allowed in this tournament.
I mean, I never said he could make it happen and not be disqualified, just he could probably make it happen. We're getting close to this Helmosaur fight. Oddly enough, due to the damage that Allison has taken, they're at 6 hearts, which is 6 hearts Master Sword, which is actually vanilla Helmosaur fight if you don't pick up Sankheart in the NMG speedrun.
Chex Human just grabbing that Skullwood small key, not getting much out of that little dip. Helsen getting a map for Ice Palace, so just a crystal of note off Helmosaur. But I believe that does put Alazan ahead on crystals, though.
Yeah, not by much, but definitely got a slight edge on that front, but doesn't have that fire rod, which is not the most convenient spot to find. So heading... Whoop, checks missed the portal there, bonked off the peg. But heading back up Death Mountain, gonna see where we're headed to next. Alzun, meanwhile, heading over to the Bombos tablet.
The Hera small key. We will not be using that. Now you can get your 10 arrows. The 10 valuable essential arrows.
We get a small key to pod that puts us at 4. So we're still 2 keys away from logically full clearing it, but we're only, 1 key. But practically, Alazun could go back in there and get the last item they had to leave behind anytime they wanted.
This is another check we haven't seen. The Ice Palace entryway. It's a shop.
Oh, and apparently there was a map check that got missed that showed that Ice Palace was the last pendant. So we know we need the Swamp Small Key, we need... Well, actually just the Swamp Small Key and the Mire Big Key.
And I think Chex Human is going to... Yeah, gonna see if they are on the right side of Ganon's tower. Allison, meanwhile, just rushing through dungeons, taking care of Desert Palace now.
Yeah, I mean, you know where all the dungeons are. There's really not a lot of use looking through the overworld for stuff when you know, hey, this is where most of my dungeons are. Let's just go clear the stuff I gotta clear, and then worry about getting items from overworld locations if need be later. Now, I'm trying to remember where...
Oh.
Yay,
so
fetch quest.
A big key in tile room. You get your hopes up, and then it's just the Skullwoods one, which isn't necessary.
I mean, it could be necessary if the Swamp Palace small key is in, the Skullwoods big chest.
Yes.
My first ever tournament race had required Skullwood's big key on pedestal to Mystery Mire entry medallion in big chest.
Well, there's Tempered Sword.
And we get the small key to Swamp on the Lammola, so if Alla can... Well, no, we still need to find the Mire big key.
And Chex Human is making the GT climb. See if he goes all the way to Aga 2, or stops with the Moldorm 2 chest.
I mean, Aga 2 isn't required since there's just the Fairy Fountain at the Ganon drop, so I can't imagine he would bother to fight Aga 2.
Yeah, I would have to imagine not. You would only do that if you messed up your drop location tracking and thought there would be something of interest there.
So I'm blanking right now. Do you recall where that Ice Rod Cave was?
It was at Hookshot Cave.
Okay.
Wait. No, I think I'm wrong. It was definitely up on Dark Death Mountain. I think it was Super Bunny, and Chex Human got there via the Hookshot Cave. which was a connector to somewhere else.
That sounds about right.
I always think I take good enough notes, and then that happens.
Like, I've got all the different dungeon stuff, but missed that one location getting written down. It's not really relevant until Allison finds the Meyer Big Key, but if he does find that, he's going to be able to clear all the dungeons except for Meyer, looking for the Meyer Big Key, and it's just chilling in that Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, chilling indeed. I didn't realize they don't have the Swamp Big Key. Probably not going to need it, but we'll see. Also, pretty sure we never got a hint for the left side of Swamp, so this is not a terrible play.
Yeah, if you're here anyway, in Allison's case, then you need 2 things for go mode. And you also heard there was a sword in Swamp Palace that you would really like to find. So, yeah, you just full clear it.
The Big Key to Meyer is in top of GT.
Wow.
Welp. Good play for Chex Human.
Yep, and that is no mode. We know where everything we need to beat this game is. All Chex has to do is go kill Landmolus, and he'll be in full go mode.
Yeah, unfortunately to do that, you do need the Big Key for Desert, which is hanging out in Pod, but a route that goes through Pod, through Race Game first to get the Pod Big Key, then take care of Pod, then take care of Desert. There's a route foreman.
Oh yeah, he is missing a lot of keys that Allison picked up that I did not notice there.
Yep, no need to fight Aga 2. Chex Human has better things to do right now.
Although, similar to the other side, realizing how many keys are still needed, got a lot of room for potential distraction. In fact, gonna go ahead and do the Meyer clear now, which we know won't find him anything of what he needs.
Yeah, might get you a pod key or two, which is nice, but none of the absolute essentials. Hopefully it doesn't lead to any red herrings and draw him further off the path.
There's that Swamp Sword, so both runners now on Tempered. If one of them ends up with gold, it doesn't really make a noticeable difference, but getting Tempered is a big step.
Yeah, it only really comes into play when you're doing Silverless Ganon, and even then it's just a couple cycles. Not nearly as big a jump as, say, Master Sword to Tempered. Yeah, also making quick work of Argus here.
I'm just going with the very reliable single hook, single slash type of attack. Not going for, the zero cycle that's silly difficult to pull off. Just going for the nice reliable kill that, you don't have pretty much any risk of messing up.
And apparently the green pendant gets you a red rupee, so not much value there.
I'd say it's worth about $20.
Yes. Yes, that is literally the case.
I'm sorry, that was awful.
I'm sorry, I'm the one who referred to the sick kid situation as a bottleneck earlier, so I'm in no position to judge.
That's fair. But I'm already in my room. How can I go into my room when I'm already here? Okay, so Allison going through the normal Death Mountain ascent that you would do in vanilla. Gonna be checking Ether Tablet and then heading over to the east side. When he gets on the east side, we'll likely find his Fire Rod. And then it's just a question of when does he scale GT?
Yeah, and I would worry that that's the kind of thing you hold off on. Because it is a decent sized time investment for what's ultimately 4 locations.
Yeah, and with oh wait, he doesn't have the Titansmiths yet, so he can't take the vanilla route over here.
Has to get over to Hyrule Castle. Which, yeah,
Which was actually on the mountain.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I have written down that the front of the castle was where the laser eyes on T-Rock are, so that was a bridge sort of situation. And the right side is the Hookshot Cave, so you're definitely not getting there yet. So, I don't know, Allison has to find that Dark World bridge.
Yeah, I forget what connector it was. I want to say it was just one of the random houses. Just dropped you off there. Could be wrong on that, but yeah, now we're in Pendant Ice, which is going to be wholly a waste of time. We'll find a pod small key in here.
Just a piece of heart off Vidi, but the crystal is a little more valuable.
Check's gonna flute away. Checking the map before the fluting, and then deciding, no, I don't want to flute. I'm going back to the Dark World. Slowly making our way through Pendant Ice, the only way to make your way through Ice Palace. While Chex is fluting over to 5 here, gonna head up north. Go through the annoying connector that people always forget is a connector cave if they come in from the other direction, which takes you out at Bumper Ledge and does the thing with the mirror.
A very important and easy to forget thing that pays off in no way whatsoever. It's the other one of those annoying mirror locations that you have to do in this seed.
Hey, another small key to GT, just what everyone wanted. Yay!
And another small key to pod.
You know,
So this was logically expected.
yeah, I feel like you would hope to have those small keys, when you actually went to pod, but you already did. You already wasted that time going the long way around. Now you're just kind of sad to see them.
So Chex Human did discover that Sahasrara sleeps above the pose and gets the red mail and another T-Rock small key that we just aren't going to use anymore.
Okay, yeah, Chad helping out. The chain was King's Tomb became the race game house, and when you go through that, you end up at the ledge there in Dark Death Mountain, and that gets you to Hyrule Castle, which gets you the mitts, which then lets you, also exit out through Hookshot Cave and get the Fire Rod. So it's not a crazy route that's needed, but it's going to require Allah to think, let's go to King's Tomb.
Yep, and to do that without the Titan's mitts, which is normally how you would get to that, you're gonna have to mirror your way in.
This seed is so rude from start to finish. It just hasn't been friendly once. Actually, I take that back. You can get boots relatively early, so that's a point in the seed's favor.
Yeah, everything else was terribly rude, but those boots.
And see, the flip of that Receiver is that even if he went to get to King's Tomb and take that trip right now, he'd still have to track down the Meyer Big Key in the top of GT, which will be pretty much last. So yeah, they're both kind of in a sticky situation. It's kind of how these tend to go, though. Eventually you get, one or two items from Go Mode, and you've still got a bunch of the world unchecked, so you just go clear everything.
Chex Human clearing out the hammer pegs on that route of checking everything possible, just finds the mattress salesman. But this will drop him close to the race game, so we might see that check pretty soon. Yeah, looks like getting in position.
Yep, and then he will likely, after getting this big key, end up heading over toward K45, I would expect.
Yeah, he's still looking for the swamp small key. And the desert big key.
I mean, he's likely to end up doing a full clear of pod, as Allison did. You'll find that their key in there, do the long way around, skip one chest of his choosing to get the boss done. Checks, no, go left first, checks.
It's just one more key.
Yeah, but it's so much more convenient to have early.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't think it practically changes anything, but you at least know what you're going to be doing and can kind of plan how you route through the dungeon to maximize your efficiency, I guess, for lack of a better word. Okay, getting the bumper cave mirror check on Ellison side. If he just heads to the east a couple screens.
Well, Chex Human is heading straight for Helmosaur. Allison going a little further through this cave, grabbing those fairies, and oh, not even gonna bother grabbing them. Just head back out the way they came. It's not actually what you want to be doing right now, but okay.
Yeah, they were, just a couple screens away from where they needed to be and ended up walking away. Of course, they don't know where they need to be, so it makes sense you would walk away, because there are other places that seem less awful. Although, the mirror and then the flute down to the 5 spot here is a little bit confusing to me, since you were already up here in the Dark World.
Yeah, I'm starting to, Oh wait, we never dipped into here. That's the alternate dimension of where you need to be. Well, the alternate dimension of the air, whatever.
Now, also shoutouts to Chex for getting the key dash on the Helmosaur build up there. He got a 1 in 4 chance, and he nailed it. And Elza now in the back of Skullwoods, going to get this chest down here, probably kill Mothula, which opens up a pedestal pull. Hooray.
Ooh. I don't think we saw what was on pedestal.
I don't think we have, and I'm waiting for it to be something that's stupid but logically required, like Desert Small Key.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Or it could be like the daily seed earlier, and it's silver arrows.
That's pretty nice. That's a nice reward for pulling the pedestal when you don't need to.
Yeah. Allison, again, no fire rod, has not gone up there to get it. Instead, doing this with the lamp. And is gonna pull it out.
Yeah, it's really not a bad little bomb jump to do. Rule number 1 of Mothula, do not spin your sword if you have Tempered Sword.
Nope, just swing it and hope you don't run into the spikes too much.
Gotta love how dumb that fight works. But, he knocked it out very quickly. He did everything pretty much perfectly. And now he's got all 3 pendants. Yay!
I was actually talking about this game earlier with a coworker of mine who hasn't played Link to the Past in ages and still remembers how annoying the Mothula fight was. It has a way of sticking in people's brains, even when they don't do rando.
Bombs, bombs, bombs! Biggest, greatest bombs! And tell your coworker I'm sorry for, the trauma that Mothula apparently caused them. So we are getting a catfish check on Alizon's side. Preferably they walk back down and hookshot across and go, that way back over to the west.
Well, they are walking away and pulling out the hook shot, so we're getting there.
Once they get up to Dark Death Mountain and get the fire rod, it's only a matter of time at this point before they find the Meyer Big Key, because no, they're doing some big bomb stuff.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I mean, they got the remaining pod keys, so this is actually in logic now.
I mean, this is not an unreasonable play to grab the big bomb when you got it available and not a lot of other options.
Just very sad when it just completely orphans the one check that you really need to make. It's a fortune teller.
And you know, the worst part is you go through all that effort to finally open up their shop, and they'll still charge you.
I mean, that's part of the experience, right? You gotta go on a journey of self-discovery if you want to get a proper fortune told. Wrap up the top of Hyrule Castle with this entrance to nothing. And we'll see where Allison is going next. Gonna flute away, and that much is for...
Yep, heading back to the village. This looks like a ped pull.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense, and looking at Allison's personal tracker with entrances marked, he doesn't have a lot of options left, so once he's done pulling this pedestal, he's probably gonna head to King's Tomb.
I might be heading over King's Tomb way first. If you're gonna pull ped, I think you would have done it already. I don't know.
I know chat has already responded to the question in the chat, but for anyone watching who might be thinking the same thing, there have been no finishes so far. No one has finished this seed up. As far as we know, these two could be, in the lead over everyone else in the race. Someone could be fighting Ganon right now and just about done. I don't know. I just know where these two are and the fact that no one else is overall done.
Up. Allison is in the correct neighborhood.
Gets his 20 bucks off of Sahasrara. Gonna go ahead and go on back, get his garbage back here, and then hopefully do the right thing.
The Misery Mire Big Key is at the top of Ganon's tower. Not the tippy top, but pretty close. And Allison has entered King's Tomb and will soon find that fire rod.
Yeah, there will be a bit of a delay, probably going to end up going through the duration of the Hyrule Castle, but soon we'll have Fire Rod, and then it's just down to that GT thing. Actually gonna make the play to check Aghanim's tower, though.
Will Allison actually clear it? Because again, we know there's a bunch of stuff behind the lumberjack tree.
Worst yet, if cleared, and they expectedly don't get anything here, then to to get back to King's Tomb to go to where they need to go, they need to do that whole annoying Dark World thing again.
Yep. They're not pulling out the mirror. This is an Aga play.
Yep, so we're gonna see what's in Kakariko Well today. It's not gonna be anything we want, but we're gonna see it. Hey, that's where the left side desert entrance went. It went to that cave on Death Mountain.
Yep, which I think that's a fairy fountain normally?
That sounds right. That
Oh,
really
there's a small key to desert in desert.
Will this seed ever just be nice for once?
No.
But
Randomizer's not allowed to be nice.
so assuming Chex doesn't do crazy stuff, he's gonna be heading to the back of desert here soon. It was just oh no, wait, I don't know if he knows where the back of desert is. Has he been to the back of desert?
Good question. And it
Is
is
that-
way over in the dark shopping mall, so this could be the setup.
Okay, yeah, he is headed this way, that way most likely. So he's gonna get his go mode here very soon. Meanwhile, Allison showing off some boomerang shenanigans, tossing, his boomerang in various directions while charging spin attacks on Aghanim.
At least it's a cooperative Aga fight so far. Of course, you had to get blue balls the moment I say that.
It just wouldn't be right if he didn't get any.
Yeah, no. The commentator must curse.
Listen, just be glad you can't curse them hard enough that they become Scrivo and get 15.
And there's Aga 1 taken care of. That will open up the Kakariko Well with 5 item locations of minimal interest.
I mean, there could be like a mushroom or some silver arrows in there.
5 item locations of minimal value. Just because they're interesting doesn't mean they're valuable.
Well, listen, silvers have some value. They save you like,
yes.
30 seconds on cannon. But you're right, definitely not worth the time taken for Aghanim, no matter what's in there. Not that interesting.
And there's the swamp key that Chex needs. And there's a mushroom in the well!
Yes! Now, of course, this means that the mushroom is going to get checked, which is highly unfortunate. And there's the last bottle, so that Moon Pearl was absolutely as terrible as it could have been.
Yes, it took about 2.25 hours for Chex Human to get into go mode. It was 2:17, I believe. And yes, the Moon Pearl was on Bottle Kid. In order to get a bottle, you had to go to the Hookshot Cave. In order to get the Hookshot, you had to go to Hype Cave, which was in the Swamp Palace location, so you had to bunny through the entire Dark World to get there.
Yeah, and Chex got a little bit of an advantage early because of being able to hover Hookshot Cave and skip that whole walk down the swamp as a bunny thing by just grabbing the bottle with hovering. Also, you mentioned how it was about 2.25 till we got Go Mode for Chex. Well, it's not going to be a whole lot longer than that till we're done, since he's got Go Mode Swamp, which he's already, halfway through, and then gets to go and walk 2 screens to the north, no, 1 screen to the north, and drop in the well, and he'll be in Ganon. And Allison, unfortunately, going back into Pod to check the location that was left behind earlier, really avoiding those entrances on Death Mountain. And that's exactly where he needs to go. He was right there beside Hyrule Castle, which would have led him to everything still needed, and left to go do Aghanim's Tower, and is now going to have to find his way back up there and go through all that again, only to find out, oh, what I needed was right here all along.
Mm-hmm. And even with that done, still has a fair bit of work to enter Go Mode. Most of that work being doing Ganon's Tower to get the Misery Mire Big Key.
Yeah, I was gonna say, at this point, Allah has, nothing left in terms of things to do. So it's gonna be pretty straightforward once they get Fire Rod to go to GT, and then they'll get their Go Mode, and it's not too terrible for them once they get on that route.
But instead of getting on that route, they were just cleaning up all of the orphaned locations from this run. Now going in, hitting the big chest of Desert Palace, which will give him the Desert Small Key, which won't get him anywhere.
And here we go with the Ganon fight. I am your cousin's nephew's cousin's former roommate. What does that make us, you ask? I don't know, but I'm gonna kill you.
Totally unrelated. Well, actually, I believe the correct answer is absolutely nothing, which is what you're about to be. It's been a little while since I've seen Spaceballs.
Yeah, it's been a while on my end, too. That sounds about right, though. And Chex is tanking stuff like mad. He's got red mail, he came in here with 18 hearts. He just wants this fight to be done at this point.
Yeah, when it comes to these qualifiers, you want the best rank you can possibly get. You want to go as fast as possible. You don't have to be first, but the more of those you get, the better your position and your reputation going into the actual tournament.
Oh. So the silver arrows were in the big chest of Thieves Town.
Oh, well.
Also, Allison is going for the GT play prior to finding Hyrule Castle. So gonna get the Mire Big Key, probably gonna clear out Misery Mire before getting back to where they need to go for the Fire Rod.
It's a tad unfortunate, but you can still make this move. And you do have to make this climb anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely the harder of the stuff to find. That is gonna do it for Chex Human. Just gotta walk through the door, and all will be complete. And that is Chex finishing in first place with an official time of 2:24:38. Give a GG to Chex Human.
Yes, excellent showing, Chex Human. GG. And yeah, that is first place of the entire qualifier set, so that is plenty of points.
And just briefly behind, we're going to get a second place finish. Which was Violet Pumpkin at 2:25:28, so less than a minute behind Chex there.
The funny thing is, you would look at this and think, "Oh, Allison's, right on the tail, right about to finish as well." And actually, no, Allison still has a fair amount to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, choosing to go through Aghanim's Tower for the well was, in my opinion, actually a good play. That is 7 items tied behind Aghanim's Tower. That, it's a few minutes to knock out, but 7 items is worth a lot. Unfortunately, the entrance right next door was Hyrule Castle, which would have given Titan's Mids an exit to get the Fire Rod. Just 100% the better option. It turns out to be the one that Chex made, and that really gave him a nice boost.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, we'll discuss it further with Chex once he's in, but that bit of hovering early on was a certain speed up, a certain advantage, but there was also a lot of smart routing that pulled it through.
For sure, and Allison gonna get the Meyer Big Key just about now, and still be looking for that Fire Rod that is shown in Super Bunny Cave. The mids, ironically, are actually not required at all. If the best case scenario for Allison would be going into the Hyrule Castle and checking the other entrances before doing the dungeon, so you would end up checking Super Bunny Cave, getting the Fire Rod. It'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm. And Allison as well, not gonna bother with fighting Aga yet again. Going to hit up, I guess, Tile Room?
Yeah, did not check right side his first time over here, so gonna go ahead and knock all this out.
Well, you'll have to do bomb jumps to get the remainder of this, but you can do Tile Room without the Fire Rod.
Oh yeah, and Fire Rod can't be locked down that bomb jump, so won't bother doing the right side. Also, we have been joined by our winner, Chex Human. GG.
Thank you. GG.
So that seed was rude.
Yeah. It started to feel kind of funny when I was in pod. Because I was trying to figure out whether Ice Palace was a crystal. just what was the last pendant, you know? So I had the knowledge that there was one Palace of Darkness key in Ice Palace. I've just found the Ice Palace big key in Darkness. So what is the story here? But the story was I should have ignored Palace of Darkness altogether after finding that desert big key and just go to Landmill.
Well, I mean, you did end up routing the end of this pretty smartly, and deciding to go do that hover in Hookshot Cave wound up being a nice time save.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Once I got to Hype Cave, realizing that was the logical step to take. But until then, I was trying to figure out what the Dark World held to get me my logical pearl.
Yeah, with the restream setup on this channel here, is all the speedruns, we can see, your actual stream. So we kind of saw your reaction on camera, where you look kind of confused by that Moon Pearl, and then got the hook shot and was like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Yes, thank you.
So the other runner on the restream here, Allison, was kind of neck and neck with you for a good chunk of the race, but they ended up getting the a bunch of keys ahead of you, clearing pod ahead of you, but have since been stuck trying to find the fire rod. When they got onto that T-Rock ledge, they ended up doing Aga Tower to go do the well, and have not gone back there.
Did they do a Dark Aga Tower?
No, they have lamp.
Okay.
Were you like contemplating doing Aga Tower for a while, considering?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. I was surprised I had a good time in this race because I didn't feel good about my early game routing and misses, things that I forgot. But I was able to avoid Aghanim, and I figure that's got to be a bait for a lot of people.
Yeah, very likely. But again, the beginning of the seed was surprisingly constrained.
Yeah.
So in the end, like nobody's gonna have a very good beginning to this seed.
Right.
Unless, go right into Hookshot Cave the first time you see it and, somehow have the boots already and then hover and get the Moon Pearl, 10 minutes in. But you have to pull some weird shenanigan routing to make that possible.
Yeah, getting the boots at 43, 44, 45 minutes was kind of painful. But, that's how entrance works. I just get thrown off connectors. I mean, by taking connectors, and then finally, eventually get to Zora Ledge.
Yeah, the lack of money didn't really help funnel you that way. Your opponent started with Houlihan, so they got there a little bit sooner, because they, were sitting at 350 instead of 150, but...
Right. Forgot about Houlihan.
Well, it's not every day that it becomes a big factor. And hey, you found the archery game pretty easily, so that was a good way to farm up.
Yep.
So I know participants are doing multiple qualifiers. Is this the first one that you've done for the set, or
this is my second one?
Your second one? How are you feeling about your qualifiers performance overall so far?
Well, it's mixed for sure. I was nearly last place of the finishers in my other qualifier. Just I don't think I was awake enough or something. Everything I did was poor, but I felt a lot more awake today for some reason. So I just was able to do better. And so, I don't know, I'm having fun with it.
Well, hopefully you can stay awake well enough for the remaining qualifiers that you're running through and do the same for the tournament itself.
Yeah, I hope so.
Cause yeah, you and Violet Pumpkin are the only finishers so far, and it's been a bit now. We're a good 10 minutes out from a first place, so that's a solid performance. Again, I think we had 19 runners on this.
I think that Hyrule Castle to Titan's Myth to Super Bunny Cave for Fire Rod thing, I think that's kind of biting people. Everyone's playing, making that Aghanim play, and then just not finding their way back up there.
Right. Let's see. What did Mitz block in this seed?
You had to go either through the Hyrule Castle exit or get the mitts to get to Super Bunny Cave for the Fire Rod.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think at the end of it, the mitts didn't block anything, but not having them makes movement a lot less convenient.
Yeah, you either needed the mitts or walking through the correct entrance of Hyrule Castle to get to what you needed. And the mitts were in Hyrule Castle, so...
Yeah, right.
And we did have a third place finisher just a couple seconds ago. Ack the Boker in third place at 2:35.30.
GG to Ack.
Yeah, GG.
We're getting a check into Spike Cave within Misery Mire here, so we know nothing's gonna be there, but you know, it could be those. Now that we know where the silver arrows are, it can't be those. So yeah, any other particular thoughts on the seed that just kept seeming to try to be as rude as possible?
Well, nothing really jumps out at me. The hint to avoid Hera Basement was nice. I take notes on paper, so I have to look at my notes to remember what is happening. So like things like the big key at race game, I had to, look at that and remember, yeah, I really need that because that could be the pod big key, and it was. And that really led me down the end game of the seed. Yeah. Getting Pearl early on led to all kinds of fun decisions. I think it was Mini Moldorm Cave at Spike Cave. I got kind of double hesitated before getting there. But yeah, I feel fortunate for avoiding Ice Palace as well as Aga Tower. So next time I probably won't be so lucky.
Yeah, Ice Palace was logically required because of a handful of pod keys, but again, you can route your way without needing those pretty easily. especially with the bow being reasonably available, you could just, right side the whole thing and then just do the old hammer yump.
Allison now going through the front of T-Rock for this one check here. Without the fire rod, can't do the other two up here. So it's gonna be nothing. Still needs to get back to that Hyrule Castle.
Yep. And in the interim, we do have our 4th place finish as 1UP40 has a time of 2 hours, 39 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Are we gonna get the ped pull now? Because I don't believe Allison ever actually pulled the ped despite having all 3 pendants.
Nope. At this point, I want him to pull ped just for the comedy.
And hopefully this is going back over to King's Tomb, which is super annoying in its own right. Oh, Skullwood's big chest. Oh, we're going in the right direction. We got
And there's
another
our
finisher.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, PRD Wong in 5th place, 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 19 seconds.
That rounds out the top 5 with a solid, the 16, 17 minute spread between them.
Yeah, almost 17 minutes from 1st to 5th.
And the castle has been found. So, I'm gonna go this way, gonna go get the items down here. We'll end up with the Titan's Mitts. Then it's a matter of either exiting out of the right side door of Hyrule Castle, which will drop you off at Hookshot Cave, let you get to Ice Rod Cave right next door, or, just leaving and then using the mitts to come to Dark Death Mountain normally. Also, just a brief moment to give a shout out to the 2 runners who have been featured here today, Checkshuman and Alazan. Both of them are people who race this game a whole lot. I have raced with them both many times, I have seen them both race many times, and they're both very good. Alazan has been kind of bit by a really terrible location in this seed, but up until that point was toe for toe with Chex, who ended up coming in first. So, yeah, drop them a follow. They are both very, very good runners of this game.
Yes, and as always, a shout out to our trackers as well, who are keeping track of all the items and the keys that our runners have picked up, and occasionally making sure that us commentators stay honest.
The hardest thing to do, to be honest. Hey, look, it's the map to Pod. And Ellison going back out the front door of Hyrule Castle.
There are
and
multiple
near
doors in
the
Hyrule
Spiral
Castle.
Cave thing. But no.
There are
No,
multiple
don't go
doors
this
in
way.
Hyrule Castle.
You were right there. Right there.
Do we know how to get to the floating island in this seed?
I don't think so.
What about Bumper Cave?
Oh,
Violet
maybe.
Pumpkin mentioned in chat earlier the second place finisher that Bumper Cave took you to the floating island. So yeah, that's the option there. I forget where Bumper Cave was. I know it was seen super early, and then
Yeah,
by
in
the time
desert.
Cave was a thing.
It's the outskirts of Desert Cave.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, we're doing Blacksmith and Purple Chest.
This goes back to what I was saying about how entrance randomizer, you also have to think about it as exit randomizer. You can dip into Hyrule Castle, you can do all that work, but remember there's 2 more exits that you could take.
Hey, look, Pod Key on the Blacksmiths. That's awful. Also, we got our 6th place finisher, Pika Pals, with a time of 2:45.45. If I recall correctly, Pika Pals was the overall winner of the first ever entrance randomizer tournament.
Was it Pika Pals or Gem?
I honestly do not remember.
Memory says Pika Pals came out on top, but it might have been Gem coming out on top and Pika second. I can't say for certain, actually. At the very least, we can safely say that Pika Pals was one of the top 2 of the original entrance randomizer tournament.
For sure. Those were simpler times with the entrance shuffle, simple shuffle.
Yeah, and with multi-entrance caves having to be tied together, and dungeons at dungeons, and...
Right.
And we have our 7th place as Sabotender finishes with a time of 2:47.12.
And that was a solid 37-minute improvement on his race PB, so GG, Sabo. And now we're going back for the Swamp Big Chest. We're gonna get a 216 out of 216 here.
Oof. You hate to see it.
I feel this pain since every race of the Overworld Glitches tournament I did, I feel like I did the same thing of just like, okay, I'm gonna make all these decisions, and the game's like, nope, every one of them is wrong. Okay, we're headed to Death Mountain. Now, probably gonna go for the quicker checks, which would be the bottom of Super Bunny Cave and the cave next to it first.
Wow, Hal is getting bullied by those boulders.
Yeah, might actually... Okay, going up to the top here, where he will be safe from the boulders, but kind of close to the whole death thing. Oh god. Oh yeah, Checks, if you're still around, how do you feel about the save and quit spots on this seed?
Pretty bad. Pretty bad. I used the back of Mountain Cave a couple of times to get to the mountain. Obviously, I didn't really think about it at first, but obviously Sanctuary at Hyrule Castle is the worst spot, and so, yeah, I didn't think about it at all. So when I checked Mountain Cave, I don't know if I exited Mountain Cave because I kind of forgot at that point. But then I realized, oh wait, I've been here, and it's dumb. So yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least Mountain Cave going out the back got you on the mountain, I guess. Plus, you did eventually get the flute, so.
Yeah. I mean, it was strange at first, but there were workarounds.
Okay, Alzan is down to their last possible check. They're going to go into Super Bunny Cave, and they're going to get their Fire Rod out of Ice Rod Cave.
And there was much rejoicing. Or actually, probably just a lot of anger.
I was gonna say, I don't know if rejoicing is what Alzan is doing right now. So the laser bridge door was in Checkerboard Cave, which with the mitts you can now get to pretty quick. Going to go there, clear out Trinex, and then flute to 3 and go let Ganon know what's going on. I love any mode that lets me walk into Laser Bridge, because screw having to walk back through T-Rock several times. You can have a little bit easier try next fight, since Alzan already has Tempered Sword, got that one out of Swamp, instead of finding the last one in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, taking care of it like a champ. It's not exactly a tricky setup, but still making quick work.
Yeah, you can go for the behind-the-back quick kill strats that are kind of stupidly difficult to get with Tempered Sword and RNG dependent, or just go with the nice safe strats that are very consistent. Nice use of the flute before the crystal pickup to, overlap the music a little bit. Now, all that's left is Ganon, which, with Tempered Sword, not going to be too bad. But also, one of the few locations that Alazan did not go back to was the big chest of Thieves Town, so no silver arrows for him either. I think that's going to be a feels bad man moment when Ganon says, "Did you find the arrows in Thieves Town?" And Alzan has to be like, "I went back for every other big chest that I possibly could, and it was the one that I left behind." I see Sabotender in the chat. Congrats on the PB, Sabo. Well, race PB. Maybe not real PB, but race PB.
Allison does manage the torch glitch. Waiting just a little bit. Make sure get as many swipes in as possible.
Yep, ideally you can get 3 spins per cycle. If you want to take it the, easier, less intensive way, you can get 2 very, very reliably, but 3 you can do just takes a little bit better timing.
And making sure you don't fall off the ledge, which is always important.
Very much so, and we're getting close to the end here. Yep,
There
in
it
fact,
is.
that was the last thing.
So that's still going to be a sub 3 for Allison, even with all the wandering and all the lost time. And we get an official 8th place, 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 44 seconds. So GG, Allison.
And sometimes that's the key of entrance randomizer, at least in my experience, is sometimes you're gonna just get kind of real bad luck on what's going on, and you just gotta be able to keep your mind together and keep clearing stuff. Not necessarily the right stuff, but as long as you can keep, constantly making progress and cutting your options down, you can keep yourself in pretty decent shape regardless.
And we do have Allison in here with us. Allison, GG.
Ugh.
I'm going to get
GG.
I'm going to guess that sound is more than just your comment in IRC that your nose has been itching for 2 hours.
No, but that didn't help. It's been getting worse and worse over the course of this seed. Oh my goodness. That was brutal. Although, honestly, that was the best Moon Pearl segment I've seen in a really long time. I thought that part was awesome.
Yeah, you gotta follow the logic on that Moon Pearl. Chex hovered Hookshot Cave, found the bottle, and then ended up getting the Moon Pearl and having a moment of, wait, what?
I was really, really worried when I saw where that bottle was, because I'm like, oh god, this is a hover seed. And yeah, instead the hookshot was in probably the dumbest place I've ever seen. I legit was like, did I mismark something? I'm like, I found basically every plain sight item, so it's not like any of these doors are things that I think are likely to be anything, but I had literally checked everything at that point.
Yeah, well, the logic doesn't require you to super bunny, but it can require you to do things while bunny and do all of them sometimes.
It was great. Like I legitimately thought it was awesome. I cheered up a lot once I got that Moon Pearl. I'm like, okay, I only found a bottle here. If Sick Kid doesn't have something, I'm in a lot of trouble, but if not, this is really cool. And then I was 2 items from Go Mode for so long that I'm just like, I don't feel like digging around for new locations. I have I know where Ice Palace is. I have dungeons to do. I'm gonna go in and check all of this stuff. And it just didn't want to be nice.
Yeah, you and Chex were very close for quite a while. And then that Fire Rod and your Big Key were kind of the separating factor.
Yeah, I assumed as much. I felt pretty good about my pace early on, even though I knew I'd be down on hovering for that Moon Pearl. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, alright, we got both Agate Tower keys super early. Something's going to be in that well. I'm going as soon as I find it.
Yeah, that was an extremely reasonable play that just didn't pay out.
Yep. And it happens.
Yep.
And instead just kind of ended up getting yanked all the way around the world. By my tracker, the only thing I have left are Big Chest and Thieves Town, which I know what it is thanks to the Big Pig. And I didn't mark that I found Cave 45. I might have found it and just not marked it.
You did because it had the cape?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember it now. But yeah, that was literally my second to last location. Let's let me get rid of my ironic commentary hover on the Triforce. On the cool seed, right? And I don't know. I've worked very hard to be better about, because I almost went into Mire early thinking, okay, well here's 6 more items I can grab, and I paused for a second. I'm like, there's some visible big keys. I can hold off on this. And there was nothing in there, which was great, except for the fact that I ended up full clearing everything anyway. And then my fire rod ended up being go mode, so everything I did related to Mothula, which is why I never checked Ped. Just because you end up in a position where it's like, well, I have 2 items. If I find my fire rod first, then Ped could be something. If I don't, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, I was down Skullwood's keys, which made me suspicious about that locking Mothula anyway. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna get randomed sometimes. It happens.
Very much so, and especially on Seed with, crazy Moon Pearl like that, and then the bow locked behind Ice Armos by way of the mirror, and...
I thought the Moon Pearl was going to be in Thieves Town, and I felt so clever for pushing off the back until I had something I could kill blind with. And I'm like, oh wait, there's that cane of Burner just sitting up there. I can grab that and complete this dungeon, and I hate orphaning that big chest, but it happens sometimes, and it felt like a much more reasonable play than super bunnying from Bumper Cave all the way down to Swamp Palace to talk to the Bat Dude in Hype Cave. Oh man, that was awesome. That was great.
Randomizer does not want to be reasonable.
Yeah, that's alright. Good seed, fun seed. Maybe not as good of a turnout as, or not as good of a placement as I would have liked, but I mean, I literally second to last location to my go mode and wasn't in a good position away from people, but at least didn't embarrass myself.
Yeah. So, how many qualifiers have you run so far, and how do you feel on that overall at this point?
I've run 2 so far, and I'll get at least 2 more in. By the way, I never found it. Does Bumper Cave dump out onto the top of Dark Death Mountain?
So we hear from our second place finisher in chat.
Okay. I realized I had never checked that connector and could have short-circuited the entire MITS garbage. But,
yeah, MITS ended up not being strictly required.
Yep. But it was one of those, I'm like, God, I haven't found freaking Hyrule Castle yet. And I guess I just assumed that 2 of the other entrances on Dark Death Mountain were sitting there at, it was just... I mean, whatever. It happens. It was fun. Sometimes you rando, and sometimes rando used. That definitely didn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
It made enough sense.
I'm also super happy that no one's forfeited yet. I definitely expected that Moon Pearl to cause a forfeit or 2.
Honestly, same. Having commentated a lot of daily races where people, the stakes are very low, so people are more willing to forfeit on a nasty seed. I was kind of expecting to see a couple, but no, people have been pulling it through so far, as we're now over the 3-hour mark.
The most forfeits I've seen in any seed has been 2 in a DQ, maybe, which isn't really bad at all, especially in a mode that can trip you up like this. I mean, it's why I love this mode. It's a great mode. It's just very heavy sometimes and hurts a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was tempted to get in on this tournament as well, but I've been not playing Link to the Past very much the past few months, and recognize that trying to play Entrance Shuffle while also paranoid of your execution is not a good plan. It's not going to work well.
Good enough player that you'd probably do fine anyway.
You overestimate me.
I've seen you play. I've raced against you. I think you'd do perfectly reasonable. Think you probably would have beat my time on this seed. As I sit on the... Oh, so I got to eliminate all of the fire rod lock spots. So that's, I think, going to save me 5 check. Let's see. I'm going to guess myself at about 207. And I'm going to do you guys all a favor real quick and mute this sound so I can see what my actual collection rate is. Nobody wants to hear the fast forwarding. 193. Wow, that actually really surprises me. I guess I scummed a couple of things, so that at least knocks off a couple things. Huh. But yeah, it was fun to wander around like a chicken with my head cut off for the entire seed. It's alright. Hopefully this will be my dropped one. I generally do better than this, and so when it comes to it, I won't feel too bad about this overall.
Yeah, the existence of, worst race getting dropped is a nice plus, because, in this case, you didn't lose because you played poorly, you just got destroyed by a specific location having your item that took you a while to get to.
Yep. And I mean, it happens. And both times in this, both my races so far, I have second to last location my go mode. And at least this time it wasn't because I stubbornly refused to go up GT, although I still went up probably later than I should have. I was debating not doing it, and then the 4th GT key was like, okay, fine, I get what you're telling me, Seed. Really happy, though, with my silver list. I've been trying to get much better at getting triples consistently, and I think I got it pretty much every time. I whiffed one of the spin, but it cost me 1 extra teleport, and isn't going to cost me any spots given the separation. Say Violet and Chex were about a minute apart, and then what do we have? 10 minutes for the 3rd place, another 4 for 4th, and another... Like, this is a spread out race.
Oh, yeah. And like I was saying, we had, 19 runners, and we're only, just at 8th place right now.
Yep, and
I imagine there are going to be some very high times.
I will probably be asleep by the time that the last couple runners finish up, hopefully. But yeah, that's about all I gotta say on the seed. Cross keys, when normal rando jerks me around, I get angry. When this jerks me around, I at least find it funny.
That sounds about right.
The same premise under which I play Ocarina of Time. Just a dumb enough game sometimes you do randomizer that it's just terrible.
I'll go ahead and give it a shout out since it has been a while now and the bot hasn't popped up with it. But Relkin has finished in 9th place with a 307.35. So we're about to round out the top 10 for this particular qualifier. Just one more person needs to finish to get to that point. Also, real quick, checks that weird super jump you did that I don't know the purpose of was kind of neat to watch, but the Houlihan at the end, not so useful.
What did he do?
It's the Skullwoods Houlihan. And
Ah.
if you are in the vanilla game and you are stuck in the dark world and you have no mirror because you went out of bounds to skip it, then you have no way back to the light world except to perform that houlihan. There are different kinds of houlihans you can do to make that happen.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yep.
What?
It's used in the all dungeons, the low percent all dungeon speedruns, kind of a category extension.
That makes sense. It would end up there.
Interesting. I'll say I think I've seen that before, but I don't think I've ever seen it actually be useful before.
Yeah, I think with that, it's about time that we go ahead and wrap things up here. Let me give
Yep.
you guys another GG for putting on quite a good show.
I would like to
Thank you.
everyone for joining
GGs.
us tonight. GGs to all. And actually, if you're interested, the next qualifier race number 7, will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UTC on CSR again.
Yeah, thanks for everybody who came in for watching. Thanks especially to the trackers for doing the least glorified job there is. Appreciate it a lot.
And thanks everyone for joining us. And unless anyone has any comments, I think we're going to wrap things up.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Later.